Evening. My name is Graham Watson. I'm at Walton Spiritualist Church doing an evening of myself. There we are. So before I start, anyone got any questions? Anyone want anything to ask me? Ask what you like.
So this evening is called what?
An audience with Graham Watson.
Exactly.
So anyone got any questions now? No? Okay. What would you like to know about my spiritual side? Okay. So I realised that I was spiritual when I was 3 years of age. I used to live in Teddington, in Walton Crescent, with my mum and dad and my granddad Charlie, and he passed away. So I didn't understand why everyone said, "Oh, he's gone now," and made a big fuss about it. When he used to come, still sat on my bed every night and read me a bedtime story and ask how I was. So as far as I was aware, he was still alive. Then he sort of disappeared, and I continued my life a little while. And then it all really started when I was 7 years of age at school, at Bushy Primary School in New Malden. So got the playtime, and at playtime there was always a man standing by the gate. And the gate led on to the A3, and the man would always stand there. And so I used to talk to him, like chat away as if like I'm looking at you now. And so I used to talk to him every lunchtime and every dinner time. And he used to say to me, "Oh, you shouldn't go over there, don't go near the gate." As far as I was aware, he was a teacher. And then one day a dinner lady came up to me and said, who are you talking to? I said, "This man here." And I described him. She said, "There's no one there." I said, "There is." And he's standing by the gate and he's talking to me now and telling me that you should go away. And so, with that, she took me to the headmaster's office. And I remember standing there, and I can remember him being very, very strict and very doing his finger at me, and I was like, "Oh dear." And I remember behind me I could hear the secretary saying, "It's okay, his mum and dad's on the way." And then my mum and dad turned up, my mum was crying, my dad was upset, and I didn't understand what was going on. All I was doing was talking to a man at a gate. And then next thing the lady said, "It's okay, the van is here now, and the ambulance people are here," because back then it was the proper men in white coats and the white ambulances. And I didn't have a clue, and all he kept asking me was, "Who is the man? Did the man go away when the dinner lady turned up?" I said, "No, man was still there, telling no to go away." And he went, "Did he disappear?" I went, "No, he's still there." And he said, "Well, look out the window." I said, "He's still there." And he went, "There's no one there." I said, "There is." He said, "There really isn't." I said, "There is." And in his office, which is quite similar to this, there was all pictures of all the old headmasters and headmistresses, and I looked, I went, "Oh, there he is." And it was really lucky for me, I think, because I think he must have been a little bit spiritual. And he took down the picture and he read it. And back then, of his time, where the A3 was orchards. The school was still there, but it was very much smaller. And the farmer always said to that headmaster, "If any more kids come over and get another apple, I'm going to shoot them." So he used to stand every single break time and lunch time, beginning and after school, to make sure no one got shot. And so that's why he was still there protecting it. So the men in the white coats disappeared, and my mum took me home and said, "No more. Concentrate on the school." And then everyone disappeared, and I could really see spirit as if like I was looking at a person. It was really, really clear. It was really great for me. So they all disappeared, and then it all disappeared for a few years until I was 14. It all came back, just glimpses, just little bits. Like if I walked down the road, someone would tell me, "Don't walk down there, go somewhere else." And then I walked down there, there'd be a big fight or something. So then it disappeared, and then it turned up again when I was 19. I was cutting a boy's hair in my house, and I was cutting his hair. Lucan, his name was, just cutting his hair, and this man just literally stood in front of me and said, "Oh, that's my son." And he had all the motorcycle gear, he had his helmet. I said, "That's nice." And he went, "Who are you talking to?" I said, "This man here." So I was in a motorcycle, and I didn't have a clue how to deliver anything. So I went, "Yeah, this man here, in his leathers, got his crash helmet, good-looking guy, saying that he's your dad." And he just started crying. And, "Oh, my dad died in a motorcycle accident." That's what he's telling me. So I was like relaying all this information back to him. And he just got really white and he ran off. And he was crying, ran off. And I was really, really upset. I was about to be married then, so my fiancée. She said, "Look, I think we've really upset him, we've done something wrong." And I said, "I think so." And I really felt really hurt inside that I'd upset and let somebody down. And the next minute, there was a real big bang on the door. Really loud, like bailiffs had turned up. And I opened the door and this woman was standing there and she said, "What have you been saying to my son? You've really upset him." I said, "I'm really, really sorry." She went, "Wow, I'm coming in." So she stormed in, she sat down and said, "You sit down and finish that message." And I went, what? She said, I want to hear what he's got to say. And I just literally went through everything about how sorry he was that he shouldn't have took the bike out on a Sunday and everything else. And he obviously had the accident. If he had stayed at home and listened to her, he wouldn't have had the accident. And lots of stuff came out. She said, oh, thank you very much. And she was happy. Turned out she was a bit of a white witch. So then she disappeared. And I said, look, enough's enough now. I'm getting into so much trouble. So let's pack this up. So it stopped again until... oh, crikey, must have been now 10 years ago. I went and thought, I need to do something about this because it keeps popping in and popping out. And what do I do? So someone said to me, you should go into a development circle, which I did. Went into a ladies' circle close to my home. And before that, though, I went and had a reading with her, and she was the first woman ever to reduce me to tears. I was crying like a baby for hours. And while I was there, I had a massive headache, really hurtful. She said, I'll lay down. She said, you'll be all right in a minute. I said, okay. She said, you must come to my development circle. I'll really help you. So I said, okay. I went to my development circle and started just giving people messages and readings. And with that, she said, right, you're going on platform. And I said, well, I don't think so. She said, you are. And she put me straight on platform. And that was the worst thing ever for me. Stood up, didn't have any knowing or protocol or knowing what to do. So I stood up, and that was at Kingston Church, Stood up at Kingston Church, went straight to this lady, never forget it, and lovely lady, she must have been in her late 70s. I said, oh, I've got your husband here. And I said, you always put him on a pedestal, you loved him so much, and he loved you. And she said, yeah, that's right. Gave her loads of stuff about his medals. I said, that one Sunday morning, I said, where he went and slapped her. He didn't mean to, but he did, and got told to leave the platform because I was talking about violence. So I got asked to leave. And I was really upset because I thought, great, here we go again. All of this talking to dead people just gets me into trouble, so maybe I should stop. They put me in the corner and gave me a cup of tea. I said, yeah, you're not very good, you shouldn't be up there. And I went, I know. And it really did upset me. And this lady came up, she went, can you finish the message? And I went, what? She said, I want to hear. And I said, well, look, he was sorry and never meant it, and he regretted it. She said, thank you. She said, that's all I wanted to hear. I said, why? She said, well, I've been coming here for 35 years. She said, waiting for that one day for him to say he's sorry. She said, I don't have to come anymore. She said, that's why they got the oven of your love. And so she left, and that was it. I didn't do anything then, gave it all up, stopped all the spiritual stuff. And then, so it must be six years ago, I went up to the SAGB in London. I thought, I'm going to dabble again just to see what's going on. I just had this feeling I had to go there. And I met Billy Cook and chatted with him. I said, look, it's all going wrong. It's really not good. And he said, because you're not doing it properly. He said, what you're doing is you're giving too much. He said, you're giving all the caviar, he said, before the starters. He says, you've got to start slower and build that up. And I said, oh, okay, how do I do that? And he said, the only way you're ever going to learn it is through yourself. You need to learn how you work for yourself. And I said, well, how do I do that? Do I sit in circles? He went, no. He said, go home and offer free readings to everyone. And I said, oh, okay. And what do I do then? He said, nothing. He said, but it will all work out. He said, just go and do that. So I said, okay. So I went home and I offered free readings. Everyone came to the house, and I used to have a queue outside my house, queuing up the road. Everyone came for a free reading, half hour each. I used to start at, Little used to go to bed at 7. So I used to start at 7 and I used to finish 12 o'clock every night, 7 nights a week, reading after reading. And I did that, and then I thought, yeah, you know what, this is nice. I'm getting really tired. So I thought, right, I'm going to charge a tenner. And the queue got less. And then eventually the queue disappeared. So I thought, you know what, enough's enough. About 3 months later, Billy Cook was in Essex. And I went up to him and said, look, I've done everything that you wanted to do. I did all the readings and everything else. What do I do next? And he said, well, I was there for the day doing a workshop. So he said, just do the workshop. So, okay. So I did all the workshop, and at the end he said, has anyone got a rush off? And he went, no. He said, Graham, stand up. He said, there's 25 people here. Every single one deserves a message. And I did every single one, 25 people. And then I said, what do I do now? And he said, go and join the churches, do whatever you want to do. And I said, oh, okay, lovely. And I thought about it and I didn't do anything. And then obviously 4 years ago, prior to that, I was a police officer. So I was at Kingston Police Station as a PC, and I got promoted to a sergeant even before my probation ended. So I really enjoyed the job. And I was set for life to go do that. I trained all the police specials on the street. And that was my career, that was my job, and that was it. I was really, really happy. During the police time, I used to get little bits and pieces through some of the murders that I was seeing or cases that I went to. I was like, oh, I've worked that out already. So I didn't say anything, because not my thing. And then, unfortunately, I was diagnosed. They found 21 tumours in my body. Didn't have one, I had 21. It's a bit greedy. And it was really weird how it all worked out. So on the afternoon, I was going out to a nice occasion. Got a suit out of dry cleaners. Been going there for years, they're really good. Anyway, so I remember going into the dry cleaners, and all I remember was everything was all blurry, and I couldn't focus. And my friend's girlfriend was talking to me, and she's like, "You're right, man, yeah, but I couldn't understand." It was like everyone was there. You know, like when you watch the film and everything's spinning, but you just can't focus on one thing, and I just couldn't focus at all. And I was just feeling really, really hot and sweaty, and just felt ugh. And I remember walking outside, and I collapsed. I hit the deck, and I literally lost every orifice of my body, emptied, which was very embarrassing. And my nose was bleeding. Oh, it was horrible. And I remember this lady saying, "It's all right. I've called an ambulance." I said, "Thank you. I don't want one." So I remember getting up, getting in my car, and going home. I was an absolute mess. I couldn't even see straight. Got home, showered. I remember laying on my bed. It was 7 o'clock in the evening. And when I opened my eyes, it was 9 o'clock the next morning. It was like that, so quick. And I phoned up my doctor, because I got my doctor's mobile number, and he was on holiday. So I said, "That's a bit rude." So I said, "What do I do?" I said, "I really, really don't feel well. And I don't go to the doctors ever. Really don't go. They always try and strike me off because I never turn up in the 10 years. So felt really ill. And then he said, "Go and see my locum, Dr. Burney." I said, "Okay." So I went and saw her. She took one look at me and said, "You're really, really not well." She said, "How do you feel?" I said, "I feel like I'm dying." She said, "You probably are then." And I said, "What?" She said, "You probably are. If you feel it," she said, "You probably are." She said, "You need to go and see my friend." And I said, "Really?" She said, "Yes, he's a professor and he's very clever." She said, "But he's all up in London. Let me ring him." She rang him up, and I live in Chesington. And he said, "Oh, I'm at Kingston Hospital today, seeing patients." And she said, "You need to see him." He said, "Oh, I'm way too busy. I'll get my secretary to ring him." So she said to me, "Go home and he'll ring you." It's okay. So I went home thinking, "Yeah, you're going to ring me." 10 minutes later, I literally got home. It took me 45 minutes to walk home. It's only a 10-minute walk. Got home, sat down, the phone rang, and its secretary went, "How quick can you come to the hospital?" And I said, "Don't know, I'm not going to be able to drive. So I'll get my dad to bring me." She said, "Well, as quick as you can get here, we're waiting for you." I said, "Okay." So my dad took me up there, and I remember going up the corridor, and there he was standing there. He said, "Come straight in," sat down, and he said, had a look at me and all that, and he said, "Yeah, you're not well." And he started writing a shopping list. I said, "Where are we off to, Asda?" And he went, "No." He said, "You're off." And I said, "Where?" He said, "I want all these tests done." It's all right. "How many months have I got to wait?" I went, "No. He said, they've been done now." And I stayed there all day, having all these random blood tests done and all sorts done. Had all them done, went back and saw him, and weird, because the blood test there can be done back in an hour, really quick if they want it. And he said, "Yeah, you're not well. Come back in a week's time and come and have a colonoscopy," which is where they put the tube up your bum. So I said, "Lovely, can't wait." And gave me all these little sachet things, and I remember doing all of them and going up there, and he did it personally. And the weird thing was, he was retiring on the day I saw him. He decided to stop his retirement just to see how I get on, because obviously Dr. Boney is his friends who recommended. And he did this, and as he did it, you could just see, in the corner of my eye, I could just see his face change. And you could see the TV screen, you could see everything. And he just turned the screen. I said, "Why are you turning the screen?" He said, "You don't want to see this." I said, "What I do?" He said, "No, you really don't." I said, "No, I do." He said, "In fact, what you want to do," he said, "is sign this declaration right now to allow me to rip out what I can see on that screen." I said, "Do what you like, I don't really care." So I signed this thing, he put the screen out, and I could see him ripping all these little, and he was showing me like, it was going number 1, number 2, number 3. So this procedure is meant to be 25 minutes, 2.5 hours later of complete and utter pain, you don't get sedated. Screaming with pain, and he did everything. He said, "I'll be down later," and I said, "Okay." Came down later and he said, "Look, all I suggest you do is go home, have a really good Christmas, go and get drunk, go and spend loads of money, do whatever you need to do." He said, "I'll see you in January." So January 2013, never forget it, walked in there, sitting in his office, it had all changed. There was tissues and water. I was like, oh, that's new. And he just said, I don't know how to tell you this. He said, but I've removed 19 tumours out of you. He said, unfortunately, all of them are live. He said, unfortunately, the most I'm going to give you is 10 months. He said, you'll be gone by October. So I went, oh, thanks. And he went, you're taking that quite lightly. So I don't feel like I'm ready to die. And he said, no. He said, by October, you'll be dead. So I walked out there, started crying. And in my head, it was like, we're back. And we'll help you. Don't worry, you'll be okay. I thought, no, I'm not. So when I went home and got all this medication, I had 64 different tablets that I had to take over the course of 14 hours per day. And all the chemical chemo, I was too far gone to have normal chemo, had to have chemical one. So that was that. And then my friend phoned me and said, oh, just moved up to Bexhill, come and see me. I was like, no, I'm not meant to drive now. But anyway, I drove up and saw him and went down the seafront. It was really nice. I could hardly walk. I was in so much pain. And he said, what are you going to do? And I said, I don't know. I said, obviously my life as a police officer is over. And he said, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I'm going to give that spiritual thing one more go. I said, and I want to hypnotise someone because I got hypnotised prior to that to give up smoking. I said, I want to do that. He said, go off and do it. I said, well, what's meant to be is meant to be. So I went home, looked up on the internet for a hypnotherapy course and found one, and it said, in Byfleet, and we'll train you in 10 months. I thought, perfect, I've only got 10 months. Ideal, love it. So I rang up the woman, and I thought, I'm really honest with her, and I said, look, I'm really not well. I've been given 10 months. I said, I see your course is 10 months. I said, but a course is a lot of money. She said, you know what? She said, you can pay monthly. And I said, really? She said, I don't want to refund anybody. So I said, okay. So, and I said, and you're only at Byfleet. I said, you're not far away at all. And she said, no. She said, I'm in Chelmsford in Essex. I said, yeah, but you're coming to Byfleet. That's why. And she went, no. She said, the course is in Chelmsford in Essex. She said, if you want to do the course, you have to come here. I said, well, I'm on a lot of medication. I'm not really meant to be driving. She said, well, the choice is yours. I said, when does it start? This was on the Friday. She said, tomorrow morning. She said, the class starts at 9 o'clock. She said, and the weird thing is, she said, there's one space vacant. So she said, it's up to you. And I went, no, I'll come. So I turned up, and I was really ill, sat in a thing like this, but as if I sat there, and I just felt like I knew everything, like a big head. I was like, yeah, I know that. I understand that already. That's weird, yeah, I know that. And she was going on about how you would like talk to someone night. I think, yeah, I'll do that too. I know all that already. Take notes. It was like it's as if like it was my home. I just knew all of it. So I started doing the course, and I just loved it. I loved putting people to sleep just so quickly. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. Love it. And she said to me, she said, you've done this before. I said, I really haven't. I said, but this is fascinating. I love it. So she said, well, you're meant to be here. I said, thank you. And then I wrote letters to all the churches, including this one. And then I remember the letter going, hi, my name's Graham. You don't know me. I want to give this platform thing a go. It doesn't matter if I'm really rubbish, because I've only got 10 months to live, so I'm not going to be around anyway. So, what you got to lose? So, the first church was Tolworth Church. She rang me up, said, oh, thanks for your letter. You're pretty blunt, aren't you? I said, yeah. I said, don't know, don't care, do you? So she said, do you want to come and do a Sunday service? I went, lovely, can't wait. I said, what do I need? She said, what do you mean? I said, what do I need to bring? I said, because I'm thinking back prior, thinking it all went wrong, so I've got to be prepared. So she said, all you need is an open prayer and a closing prayer. She said, and maybe talk about something in the middle. So I said, okay, I can do that. So I was like, right, opening prayer. How do you open in prayer? I haven't got a clue. So I'm sitting there thinking, I'm the most unreligious person in the world. So I'm thinking, don't understand that. And all of a sudden, my granddad just sat there and went, let's start. And he did. He wrote my opening prayer, and we wrote my closing prayer. And that's why I stand up now and I read it out. Everyone thinks I can't remember anyway. But it's because it's so special to me. So I had that. I thought, yeah, I've got that. Now I'm into inspirational talk. What do we talk about? And in my head, it was like, just talk about yourself. Best way. And I thought, okay. So I stood up. I did the opening prayer and started talking about just how unwell I was, because everyone could see how unwell I was. And I was like, it's all right, don't worry, I'll get through today, don't worry, we're not going to call an ambulance. And they said, oh, time for messages. And I was like, no, last time I did that, I upset everybody. So I just started laughing. And that's all I did, I just started laughing my head off. And they're like, look at me like, why is he laughing? And all of a sudden I just started doing out these funny messages and everyone started laughing. I had a great night and everyone was really happy. And I thought, okay, done that, brilliant. So I thought, oh well, I've done the service, thank you very much. I feel so much happier. I thought, no more, I'll never get any more. I went home, and within 3 days, including Walton here, I was fully booked for the rest of the year. And I'm like telling you, I won't be here in December, so but I'll take the date just in case. And even when I came here, I was, I just literally had the chemical therapy the day before where they strapped you on the bed and literally stuck a needle in here and a needle through your groin and you're paralysed, you can't move for 2.5 hours, just cannot move at all. And I didn't have any worry about losing my hair, so that was quite handy. And I refused to stay in, so I signed a form saying I'm not staying in because I only live with my son and I didn't want to leave here and he was too scared anyway. So my dad, I always remember, used to drag me up the road to get me back in the car. Horrible. Anyway, then I came here and this was my second church and did the evening here. And the third church was Woking. I thought, it's going really well. Course is going well. I'm doing okay. And every time I went to the hospital, they're like, it's as if like it was an advent calendar, like they're counting down my time. I was like, I really don't feel like it's my time. They're like, you've got to get used to it. I said, okay. So we fast forward a little bit to May. So in May, she said in the course that by August you could start practicing on people. I said, I don't have that long. I said, August, I don't know how rough I'm going to be. I said, can I start now? And she was like, yeah, but you need somewhere to do it and all that. And I was like, right. So I went home, looked on the internet on the Saturday night and found a company that would sell you a summer house. I thought, this is handy. And normally a summer house about maybe £3,000. And this was 1,500 quid. So I was like, why is it so cheap? So I rang them up. I said, why is it so cheap? And they said, well, we only deliver to like B&Q or to companies, not to individuals. I thought, oh no. So I thought, right, what do I do? And in my head, I'm not dishonest at all. In my head, it's like, make your own company. Yeah. So I went, oh, that's a good idea. So previous to that, my little niece lost her little toy, and I set up a company to get her toy from the suppliers. I thought, oh, I still got that company name. So I tweaked it a little bit, and I placed my order, and went to the course on the Sunday. I said, it's all right, got my summer house on the way. So she said, well, if you carry on the way that you are, next time we meet next month, she said, you can start seeing people. I said, okay, lovely. So I thought, right, summer house turned up on the Tuesday. I thought, great, summer house is here. How do we build it? I ain't got a clue. My next door neighbour, he said, I'll help you. And we built this base, and there's all pictures of it on Facebook. And then the other neighbour around the corner said, I'll help you. And before I knew it, we built this summer house, and it was built. And it was a very basic summer house, but it was lovely. And I put 2 chairs in it, I thought that's all I need. Let's get going. Bought myself a little Reiki bed. And I literally put an advert on Facebook saying, I'm training to be a clinical hypnotherapist. I'm here to help you. Looking for volunteers as in case studies. Everything's all confidential. Let me know. So I left it. Next bit, my phone is going absolutely mental. Like ding, 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 ding. All these messages from nowhere. I've got this problem. I've got this. No one can help me. And I'm like, wow. And then I realised I had 1,000 messages. And so I took the advert off and I thought, what do I do with 1,000 messages? And in my head it's like, well, reply then. Well, okay. So I started replying to people and I thought, I can't help you. You need rehab. So I started saying, I'm really sorry. I'm not that far in my training in order to help you. However, this is the person that's training me. Contact her. I can't help it. And all of a sudden I whittled it down to 250 people. And on the Monday morning, I started working, seeing everyone for 2 hours every day. And I started work 9 o'clock in the morning. I used to finish 9 o'clock every night, 7 days a week. And I'd forgotten about me. So it was nice. I was able to help other people. And I forgot how I was feeling, like how rubbish I felt and how much sleep I'd never had. I hadn't slept in my bed for months. I always slept on the couch because I didn't have the energy to sleep on my bed. So to walk from here to those doors would take me 2 hours. So that's how weak I was. I went from 18.5 stone of pure muscle, literally I was, and I went down to 7.5 stone. So I had no energy whatsoever. I remember that was awful. Anyway, so that was that. So you had to work out your toilet breaks well, I tell you. So a line of thought. Anyway, so the summer house was built, seeing people, really, really enjoyed it, writing it all down, and all of a sudden people started going, I feel so much better. I feel really good. And one client, I won't mention her name, she turned up and said, me and my fella, we're done. She said, he's violent, he's horrible. She said, I don't love him anymore, but I want to be with him. So I started working with her. I said, you know what, I really need to see him. And he came. I remember him sitting there going, don't know why I'm here. I said, well, let's see. He said, well, you're never going to hypnotise me. I said, okay. So for weeks, he just used to sit there for 2 hours and just tell me little bits. If I told you the truth, he said, you'll never be able to live with yourself. I said, okay. But all I kept doing was just touching his arm. I said, every time I do that, I just feel a bit sleepy. And he laughed. And eventually I got him into hypnosis and I helped him. And I think the biggest news was in June, I was sitting in my bed and I was reading a book. And as I put the book down, my granddad was standing there. He said, we're taking you. I said, but I'm not ready. He said, it's time to go. I said, but I don't want to go. He said, it'll be okay, we're coming back. I said, thank you. And people had always said to me, well, if you're going to get up and do messages, you need to know who your guide is. I didn't have a clue who my guide was. And so my granddad took me, and I remember wide awake. I always thought I dreamt it, but I hadn't. I was wide awake, and he took me, and literally this place was weird. It was just like white. But every time you look somewhere, the white shades just changed all the time. All these white shades were always different. And he stood there, and with this man. I was like, who's the man? And he said, hi. He said, I'm your guide. I said, welcome. Hello. And I said, who are you? And it just started from there. He told me his name, which was Pi. It wasn't then. It was Shaka, something else. I couldn't understand that name. He said, don't worry, we'll find the English version. And I'm very straight to the point, don't understand, an uneducated person. And we worked it out to be Pi. And every time that we were talking, he was always bare-chested. I said, why are you bare-chested? He said, because I'm always going to be the memory of someone that you always was, not the person you're going to become. I said, okay. And he had this really good sense of humour about him, and he would laugh and he would joke, and I liked it. And both of them just said, no, you've got to kneel. I went, why? They said, well, just kneel, we're asking you to. And if you trust us, you'll kneel. So I knelt, and it was as if I'm sitting here now. I knelt, and these two hands came on here. And next to it, I just felt really cold, really shivery, really hot, felt weird, felt sick. It was as if like I was coming out of that dry cleaners again. It was all weird. And then next thing I know, I'm sitting up in my bed still with my book, still in the same place as if like, oh, well, that was weird. And the next day, I was going to go and have my biopsies, as usual, and blood tests. Back then I had to have blood tests every day. I had to have biopsies every 4 days, so exciting day with my biopsies and blood tests together, can't wait. So I turned up to have them done, and that used to hurt. Ugh, I hate that. Anyway, had that done, and he said to me, right, he said, we'll see you in 2 hours. I said, okay. At this time, he was wanting to retire, so he had an understudy that worked with him, and she was lovely, and went into the room, and I thought, something's weird. There's no water. The water's gone. And that's all I could think about, there's no water. So I said, oh wait, what about if I'm thirsty? And the tissues were there, but she was crying. And I went, last time I was sat in this office, I said, I was the one crying. I said, because that news he gave me, I've always got a bit of sense of humour. And she said, we've mucked it up. And I said, what do you mean? She said, well, we can't have your notes here. I said, I don't understand. She said, nor do we. She said, because in this time I've already paid for my funeral, I'd already written my order of service, everything was done. I'd already signed over custody to my mum and dad. Everything was done. I was ready to leave this world. And she said, I don't know how to tell you this. And I said, what? She said, you've got the all clear. She said, they're all gone. She said, the 2 tumours that we've left in your body that we can't get out, she said, all of it's benign. I went, I don't understand, what does that mean? She said, start again, new life. And I went, yeah, but it's going to come back. She went, no. She said, honestly, she said, the whole body, there's not one cancerous cell in there. I said, what do I do now? She said, go and enjoy yourself. I thought, how do you go and enjoy yourself now, innit? Well, I thought, yeah, result. So it's, thank you very much, see you later. And that was on the Friday. Saturday, hypnotherapy class, walked in, guess what, all clear. Ain't going to get rid of me now. So, and then I finished the course in October. 20 people in the class, and there was only 6 of us that qualified. And the lady came round to all of us and said, tell me something unusual about yourself. Something different, not the run-of-the-mill stuff. So one lady said, oh, it's been 20 years since I've been married, and all that. And she came to me and said, what about you? And I said, well, it's really weird. She went, what? I said, today's the day I'm meant to die. And she went, what? I said, look, in my phone was I'm off. She went, what's that mean? I said, this was the day I was meant to die. And I said, you're giving me a certificate which has started me a whole new life. So she said, you're welcome. I said, thank you. And then I literally walked away from there as a qualified clinical hypnotherapist. I thought, right, now I want to work with children. So then I did a course working with children, and it was just weird because all these case studies from before, I was still seeing them, but I didn't charge them because I didn't think that was fair. And the lady and man, so you get back to that story, they came and sat in front of me and told me that they were renewing their vows. And not only that, but they were expecting a baby.
Oh.
And I was like, wow. And they said, couldn't have done it without now. So I said, oh, wow. It made me realise that life was just so important right at that stage. So I then started work as a clinical hypnotherapist in my little summer house, and I was doing readings at the same time. And I was fairly busy. I was having a nice little living, and I was happy. And I was doing the churches, and everything had just all fallen into place. So it was nice. And then moved forwards to the following year. I was in a church, and the couple walked in with the baby. And that just really got to me as if to say, you know what, you're on the right track. So then, during that time, I talked to my guide. Every time I talk to him, even now, he's always bare-chested. Never changes. But he's got like this really good sense of humour about him. So then I just thought, how do I develop myself better? I want to get even, I want to get to a standard of where I want to get to. So I tried to sit in a circle, and I sat in a circle for 3 weeks. And the lady asked me to leave. And I said, why have I got to leave? And she said, we don't want you. And so I left. I thought, what have I done? It's all starting again. All this badness has started again. So I was like, great. And then she phoned me up and said, oh, I'd like you to come back to do a day of private readings for me. I said, okay. So I thought, you know what, maybe it was just a glitch. It's okay. So I went back, did a day of private readings, and went back to the circle, and I sat in it. And 3 weeks, during this week number 2, my friend put on Facebook saying about that she wanted to raise some money for cancer research because family members that she knew were dying, and she wanted to raise some money, and that's obviously close to my heart. So I went, okay. So I messaged her. I said, I tell you what, for a laugh, because I thought it'd be a giggle, get like 3 or 4 friends round. I said, we charge them £10 each, and all the money go to charity. I'll make about 60 quid. So the target was like £150. She went, oh yeah, would you do that? I went, yeah, lovely. So about an hour later, she contacted me and went, got more than 6. Can you do 20 people? I went, well, that's fine. I said, but we'll do it as like a little show thing, I said, like, I've done the churches, I'll just do it, that sort of thing. So she went, oh, that'd be brilliant. She said, we'll do it in my front room. I said, lovely. He messaged me an hour later and went, how big's your front room? Because I can't get 35 people in there. I said, nor can I. So I said, we need to rent. Can't see 35 people otherwise. So she was in a pub at the time. I said, oh, I don't know where I'm going to get a hall from. And the man went, yeah, you can, love. We went up. We didn't even have to advertise it. We had 100 people turn up. And it was like phenomenal. Just standing up, didn't have a clue, and giving out all these messages. And it was so busy. And the bar, the pub was on the verge of closing anyway because they weren't making any money. So about 10 people a day. And they'd taken like $4.5 grand behind the bar, So he was happy, we were happy. And the weird thing was that just before the show, I said to him, I probably need a microphone. He said, that's the problem. He said, I can't give you our microphone, so I'll give it to you. I've got to rent it out to you. So I had to go and buy all my own PA equipment. I still got it all. So I got like microphone, I got all the speakers, I got everything. I brought it all off of the eBay. So he took it there, set it all up. My friend was a DJ, and he was the friend that was at Bexhill on Sea. He came and set it all up for me. So we had a really good night. And then she contacted me about 4 months later and said, look, my brother's really ill. I want to raise some money for his charity. So I said, okay, we'll do it again. And we did exactly the same thing, but this time it was 120 people. I thought, this is really good, isn't it? So I got my little PA system, and it went really, really well. And the lady that I was sitting in her circle told me, that's it now. You definitely can't sit in my circle. So I did leave and never went back. She said, if you think you're big enough for your own boots of standing up there in front of 120 people, you shouldn't be in. I was like, I ain't got an ego, I'm helping people out. I just enjoyed it. So I got told to leave, so I left, and I thought, that's it now, no circle, what do I do? I'm literally an untrained clairvoyant coming to churches. No one has got a clue, I'm just untrained and just giving messages and just rattling off what I get, and that's it. And it was weird because I sat on the computer, one of my idols, or one of the people that I love watching on telly, was Derek Okporo. So I was looking at his website and all that, and at the bottom here it's got this little address, not far. So I contacted the address thinking it was something to do with him, but it wasn't. It was just like what they call back-to-back ad on somebody else's website. So I went and sat in her circle for 6 weeks, and that changed my life, because she turned around and said that you don't need to be here, all you need to do is trust yourself. It's only going to come from you. It's not you that's the medium. She said it's everything, they just use and abusing you. And I said, oh, I see. She said, do you open and close yourself down? I said, that's important. I said, oh yeah, I do all that. And I went home, and I was thinking about everything that everyone's all said. And my guy took me back to the white fluffy place again. I was like, why are we back here again? Am I ill? And he went, no. He said, I will help you in more ways than you'll ever imagine. I said, what's that? He said, all you got to do is ask me. He said, don't open and close yourself up and down, so you don't need to do all that. He said, don't need to protect yourself. And I said, why is that then? He said, because I'm here to do it all for you. He said, you've got all this to deal with. He said, let me deal with that for you. He said, and he came up with this idea of a knowing, or a way of me knowing when I'm ready to work spiritually. And what that is my windpipe closes, and if anyone ever witnesses it, it's like I'm literally choking really bad. And then all of a sudden my windpipe opens again, and it's like, it's not my windpipe anymore, and that's all I know. So strange. So anyway, that was that. So life just continued as it was, doing my messages and doing my hypnotherapy. And that's what I enjoy. And that's what I was doing. So I had all clear from my illness. And so now I class myself as 4 years old. And so it'll be 4 years this November the 15th that I started all this work. So that's where I am so far. Isn't that quite cool? Anyone got any questions so far?
So you can block yourself off, stop, and then start again then?
Spiritually?
Yeah.
I personally felt that at all of those times I wouldn't have been ready for it. I believe now, listening to them that there's always a right time and a right place for somebody.
Mm.
Although it took them to make me really, really ill in order for them to say, now's your time. But yeah, that's how it was. So it was sort of like from that time I sort of self-taught myself laying on the sofa. So I was just reading Betty Shine books, watching Colin Fry on the telly, watching Tony Stockwell, just like looking, seeing how it all worked out really, and then just got a rough idea in my head. And that was it really.
So do you believe that when you went, because I am a white room, so I understand, that you had healing?
Yeah, it was all spiritual healing,
Yeah.
I believe that they healed me there.
Yeah.
Even now when I see my consultant, she cries. The minute I walk in the door, she always starts crying. She just says, I don't understand it. And I am classed as the walking miracle, that's what she calls me.
Did you tell her what you experienced?
I told her in the end, I said I'm a really spiritual person, this and that, and she went, well, if it works for you, she said, that's fine. It doesn't matter. She said, I don't care. She said, the fact is, you're still here. And that's it, I was still here. And then December last year, I was ill again, and my stomach all decided to merge with my bowel and my bladder. And I was really ill again and got rushed to Kingston Hospital and ended up in critical care. And I didn't really think much of it. I was quite chilled in there, quite happy. And my consultant came up and she said, oh look, we're going to do this surgery and put everything back again. I said, oh great. I wasn't allowed any visitors. But in the outside world, I didn't realise that my son's going crazy, like really upset thinking my dad's dying now, it's all caught up, it's all bad. And he got a message from our dog that passed away. And she sat in his bed and went, no, it's okay. He's fine, don't worry, I'm looking after him. And he went, oh, thanks. And so I stayed in the hospital, and then that was the time the consultant goes, are you sure there's no loved ones here for me? I went, yeah, sure. So I started rattling off a few things for her. So she was happy, and then nurses all started popping up as well. So I sort of spent my time giving little mini messages, quite happy. Yeah, that was it really. And then I am where I am now, just plodding along really. And that's what I'm doing, is plodding really. I don't take it all seriously as in life anymore. I don't believe in like planning too far ahead. Just believe in dealing with every day as it comes, really. Some people say I work too hard.
It keeps your mind busy.
It does. Keeps my mind busy, because what people don't realise is it's all good, all lovely that you're all clear, but what they don't realise is then you've got to try and sort out your mind to understand that, because my body was already in shutdown mode. My body was already preparing to leave. My mind was already preparing, and now it's like trying to kickstart the whole body up again to say, look, let's get going again. So I do have days where I'm absolutely tired and I can't do anything. And unfortunately I have to let churches down, so I just don't feel well. And other days I feel right as rain and ready to take on the world. So it's just waiting for that steady balance. But she told me by next year, I'll have that balance. So I'll be alright again then. You're laughing.
That's something to look forward to, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because when you do something like this and you explain how things have worked for you, people get a greater understanding.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because all people see is a medium standing up
Absolutely.
and going through like the prayers address on Sunday and things like that. They don't actually see the person.
No, absolutely.
Because that, you can't do both at the same time.
Absolutely. I think for myself on the spiritual side, it sort of, I went from nothing and like literally catapulted quite quickly, because I don't know if anyone's ever seen it on Facebook. It just seems like I've just done literally everything in 4 years. So, you know, I've worked with Keith Charles, worked with Ivan Lee. I've been asked to work with them, you know. I'm like, wow, thank you very much. And everyone goes, Carl, it's all right for you. How do you get involved out? I said, I don't know. I really don't know, but I'm really honoured to like go, wow, I'm standing next to them, and you know, I'm definitely not good enough, and why am I standing up next to them? And you know, it's really bizarre, but yeah.
You're on a good level with Ivan Lee, I think, with the sense of humour.
Yeah.
If I had a choice, I would choose you over him, because he's moved towards more of a showman in a way.
Yeah. I get lots of messages on Facebook or texts or phone calls saying, "Oh, look at you now, you know, you're at Epsom Playhouse," but people don't understand why I did it. You know, I did Epsom Playhouse for 3 years. So the first time I did it, my mum's in her 70s, and my mum's, you know, she plods along, and she's a real believer. She's seen them all: Colin Fry, TJ Higgs, Tony Stockwell. I've seen them all live at Derek Agora. And we was in Epsom Playhouse. It was so funny. And she said, I'd love to see you up on that stage doing this. She said, because I come to the churches, she said, there's loads of people come to see you. I said, you've got no chance. Never going to happen. I said, they'll never want me in there, Mum. And the lady behind the till or the box office, whatever you want to call it, she said, all right, yeah, listen to him, Mum. He's right. You'll never get up on there. And she said, why? And she said, because I haven't got a clue who he is anyway. What do you do? So I've just started doing all this spiritual stuff. She went, what, like Keith Giles? I went, that's it. She said, oh, she said, we've got Sally Morgan here next week. I went, yeah, I'm not as good as her. I said, but I like to have a bit of a laugh. And she said, yeah, she said, you won't go up on there. And my mum just turned around, and her words were, before I go, she said, I'd love to just to see you up there. She said, that'd be my wish. And I went, still not going to happen, Mum. The lady behind the box office was called Barbara. And she said to me, where are you next? And I went, don't know. I haven't got a really good memory. And my mum said, oh, he's at Wimbledon on Tuesday. So she went, all right then. So I did the Tuesday night thing. And as I was walking up, this woman went, you're right. I went, oh, hello. She went, oh, that was good. She said, come and see me tomorrow. Oh. So I went back, and she was there with the manager. And she said, come and have a look at this room. And it was a room, fair sized room. She said, we can hold 80 people in here. She said, let's make your mum's wish possible. And I went, oh, I don't know. She went, go on. She said, it'd be a laugh. She said, what we do, she said, we're not going to charge you a penny. She said, if you can get 20 people, she said, we'll start selling the tickets. I went, okay. She said, if you can get 40 people, she said, we'll put the evening on. And she said, we'll sort out how much you owe. I said, okay, fine. So I said to my mum, yeah, guess what? Go to Epsom Playhouse. And literally within about 10 minutes after I put it on Facebook, they said, well, we sold 20 tickets. So what we need now is we need posters, we need flyers. And I'm like, where do I get all that from? And again, in my head, it was like, just look on the internet. That's what your tool is now. We'll help you. Looked on the internet, and there was this little printing company came up. I was really drawn to it. I phoned them up. They went, oh, we don't normally do stuff like that, but we'll do it for you. Okay, what do you want? I said, I don't know. What do I need? And the lady there was lovely, Jo. She said, well, you need a picture of yourself. So naive Graham went, sure. Sent her loads of pictures off my phone. And she replied back, yeah, not that sort. She said, all the pixels, all the pixels have got to be this and that. I went, what are they?
Yeah.
She said, well, it's all the pixel that makes the photo. I went, okay, what do I do then? And she said, you got to go to a photographer and get a picture. So I went, okay. So I phoned up the photographer around the corner. I said, I need a still shot of me. How much? And he went, 250 quid. And I said, for what? Just to click. He went, well, you're going to be there for about an hour. He said, and that's how much it charges for one picture. I said, I can't afford that. I haven't got that sort of money. He went, oh well, bye. And put the phone down. I went, that's rude. So I've always been brought up in manners. So I thought, what do I do now? And again, in my head was the internet. And looked on the internet, and it was all about Keith Childs. I thought, okay, he's a medium. That's lovely. And underneath it went Epsom. So I rang at Epsom, it was a photographer, and the bloke went, oh hi, Keith Charles here, how can I help you? I went, whoa! Oh what? And he went, Keith Charles? I went, what, the clairvoyant? He went, no. He said, I work in this shop. And I went, how much for a photo? He said, what do you want it for? So I explained it all to him, the whole story, and he said, come in and see the bloke. So I went in, and I turned up there with like 2-3 shirts, 2 or 3 jackets and ties and everything. Turned up, the bloke went, it's weird, isn't it? His name's Keith Charles. I went, yeah. He said, do you know there's a clairvoyant called Keith Charles? I went, yeah. Really bizarre, isn't it? He went, yeah. And we went in through this tunnel. And I said, this is really weird. And it's like, I want to catch a train. He went, yeah, that's it. He said, this used to be the old train station at Epsom. So I said, well, how much is this going to cost? He went, let's get your picture done first. I said, well, I don't know. He went, don't worry about it, stand there. And we stood there and did all these poses. And one of the poses was me standing like this. Did anyone see the picture? No? I've got it out there. Anyway, so I'm standing there like this. And he said, I really like that picture. I said, I don't. I said, I'm just standing there like holding nothing. He said, I really like that picture. He said, that's the picture that you want. And he did a little bit of photoshopping, and he went, that's your photo that you want. I went, how much is that? We need 250 quid. He said, where's it got to go to? I said, it's got to go to his printing company. And he said, well, it's too big to email, you need one of these memory sticks. I said, yeah, I've got that. Keith Charles told me to bring it. So I gave him the memory stick, and he put it all on there. I said, how much? He went, £60. I said, for what? He went, that's how much I'm going to charge you, £60. He said, it's been really fun working with you, you're such a laugh. He went, 60 quid. So I gave him the £60, took my photo, and I got it, taken it to the printers, and they said, lovely. And when the picture, when they showed me what the flyer would look like, I'm just standing there like that, I thought, that ain't right, is it? And at the time, I was doing a driving lesson for this autistic boy, and I said to him, I showed him the picture, I went, look at that. He went, yeah, that's really nice. He said, isn't that really colourful? I went, what? He said, the ball that you're holding. I went, I'm not holding a ball. He went, yeah, it's really blue and it's lovely. And I went, there's no ball there. He went, yeah, there is. He said, it's like a ball of energy. I went, I'm not holding a ball. He said, yes, you are. So I thought, I'm not going to argue with him. So he drove his driving lesson. I went home and I googled ball of energy, and this ball of energy just appeared on my computer. I took that, gave it to the photographer, and they put it together. They sent me back the picture. The next day I got a lesson with him. I went, what, like that? He went, well, it's the same picture, isn't it? And I went, weird. So that's where the ball of energy came from. We did all that, and then a day later, Epsom Playhouse phoned me up and said, you've sold out. I went, of what? Flyers? She went, no, seats. I went, there's 80 seats, there's no way. I said, the tickets have only been on sale for 3 weeks. She said, it's sold out. She said, you've actually hit the record book. She said, you're the first unknown clairvoyant to sell out. And I went, yeah, but that's the big one. She went, no, even here. She said, we've never had someone sell out 80 tickets that quick for someone that's unknown. And I was like, wow, oh dear, what do I do next? And the lady at Epsom turned around and said, well, you need to work out what you're going to wear. So I went, what do you wear? Just wear a suit. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to make it really special. So I hired a suit, and it worked out that you get, I'll say it openly, that because of all the tickets on, I made £1,000. I thought, £1,000, 2.5 hours work? Right result. And they went, but that's not your money. And I went, what do you mean that's not my money? Of course it is. And they went, you need to video it. I went, what? Video the show. Something to remember it by. I thought, what a good idea. Never going to do it again. I'll just video it. Don't worry about it. So, contacted this bloke. And he films all the documentaries. He just did the one last night with Gordon Ramsay with the cocaine thing. He was the cameraman for that. So I said to him, how much is it for you to come and video Epsom Playhouse for me? And he went, yeah, it'd be £4,500. I went, oh. He went, why? So I've got £1,000. He said, what do you do? I said, I'm a clairvoyant. Try it anyway. And he went, oh yeah. I went, yeah. He went, have you got a spare seat? And I went, no, it's sold out. Sold out? I went, yeah. I went, Epsom. He said, it's really weird. I said, what? He said, on my bucket list that I need to do in my professional career is I've always wanted to go and film at Epsom Playhouse. He said, it's amazing. I went, right. He said, and I've always wanted to film a clairvoyant. He says, so can I come and do it? I went, of course you can. I said, well, not for £4,500. And he went, I'll do it for £1,000. I went, really? He went, yeah, I'll do it. I thought, you ain't going to turn up. I said, how do I pay you? He said, on the night. He said, when I turn up, he said, pay me the money. I went, okay. And he turned up, really lovely bloke, turned up, he brought his girlfriend along, and he filmed the whole night for me. Edited it all and everything, stuck it all on YouTube for me. And I thought, wow, what a nice guy, isn't it? And so I realised then it's not all about money. So I went, okay, thank you, Epsom Playhouse is all done, finished. And I thought, how do I get my money from Epsom Playhouse? So I messaged them and they went, oh, normal channels. So I replied, what are they? She said, well, you'll know how to get your money from us. And I went, I don't know. So at the time when I got the all clear, I'd messaged I was talking to Colin Fry about going the following year to go to one of his residential courses because I wanted to learn loads more stuff. And he said to me, I messaged him because he had had the cancer at the same time. So I messaged him like, wow, really good news. Just thought I'd let you know, you're probably not interested, but anyway, I got the all clear, coming off the medication in about a month. And he replied, I've still got the message on my phone. And he told me, said, no matter what you hear in the next 4 weeks, he said, all I wish for you is to have the best life ever. And I thought, oh wow, okay. And I thought, how do I get my money from Epsom? And 4 weeks later, his manager declared that Colin was dying and he wasn't well. So cheekily, I messaged his manager and went, oh, I'm really sad to hear all of that. I told him I got really clear, and he said, yeah, Graham, I heard all about that. So I've heard some really nice things about you. If I can ever help you, let me know. I thought, oh. So I said, I know this is really cheeky. I said, well, I've just done a show at Epsom. I don't know how to get my money in, so I'm in normal channels, what do I do? And he wrote back a whole list of everything I had to do. So, did it all, got me money. So that was the result. But obviously it wasn't mine, because I'd already borrowed it off my mum, paying the cameraman. So I gave her back the money, so I thought, how nice is that, how it all works? I thought, this is lovely. And then the phone rang, and it was Epsom, no. So after you do a show, you have to go back to Epsom Playhouse, or back 2 months later, because they have the right for anyone to make a complaint. And I got no complaints. I thought, that's nice. So she said, what date do you want next year? I said, for what? She said, well, you're going back in now. I went, I'm not. She said, well, you have to. She said, you've done this year, you've got to come back again. So you could do next year. These are the 2 dates I've got. I went, okay. So I thought I'd give it a go. I said, we're not going to sell many tickets. So we did it all over again. And I put the tickets on sale last year before. So I put them on sale on the January, and I sold 6 tickets. I thought, oh, there you go. There you go. It's not a really very busy night. So I messaged the manager and went, oh, well, we've only sold 6 tickets so far. I know it's in November, but make sure you got their names, addresses, and give them back their money. And she laughed. She went, it's a bit early yet. Anyway, by August, September, October last year, it sold out again. I was like, wow, I'm going to make £1,000 again. Yes. Right, so I thought, I'm having that this time. And they said, no, you're not. You're going to use that money to promote yourself. You're going to promote yourself of everything that you need stationery-wise. So that's why I've got my appointment cards, I've got gift vouchers, I've got everything. It all come to £1,000. It was £1,001.78. So almost what I wanted. So I got all my leaflets and got everything else. So I did it all. And then that was that show finished. And then they said, we have an idea. I said, what's that? They said, we want you to go back in the little room again, but we're not going to allow it. And I said, well, why not? And the manager said, how long have you been doing this? I said, well, it's 4 years next year, November the 15th. So she said, we'd like to celebrate your anniversary with us. And I said, oh, how? She said, you're going in the big room. I said, I'm really not. And she said, no, you are. She said, you're going to go in there with Ivan Lee. I said, oh yeah, I know him. She said, I know, you've worked with him. She said, you're both going to go in there and sell tickets. I said, we may not sell a lot of tickets. She said, we're going to sell as many as you can. And so that's where the big theatre thing comes on, just a one-off, just to celebrate my anniversary. But already now I've sold half the tickets. So I'm chuffed, I'm really happy about that. The money that I'm going to use, I already know what I'm going to use it for. It's going to go and help somebody that's close to me. So I'll make no money out of it whatsoever. Obviously a little room, £1,000, I'm going to make a lot more, but I'm going to be paying money out. So someone that I know has got cerebral palsy. She just got her own house, so she's living independently, and she wants what's called a healing dog, which the dog will, if she drops her socks, will pick it up for her. She's got the TV remote, will go and get her. Now, no disrespect to blind people, but if you're blind, they offer you a guide dog really, really quickly. But because of this, she's got to wait 5 years. So I was outraged, so I phoned her up and said, how can we speed up to 5 years? That's too long. She wants it now. And they said, well, then you pay us £5,000. So the money that I get from Epsom is going to go towards that healing dog, and I want to keep going until we get the dog. So that's the idea.
That's lovely.
See, so I'm not making no money out of it. So everyone that looks at it and gives me all the horrible messages saying, oh, look at you, too far up the backside, and you know, look at you now in the big theatre and do all of this. But I make no money out of it. I do it, I use that money to make better use, to do other things. So that's the idea. And the way I look at it is, I've been given this new life, so I'm going to use it in order to help people as much as I can. So it's quite good, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's how Epsom came along.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, we're going to have a break now,
Yes.
and we'll be back soon. Thank you. It was weird actually. I was sitting there, and they were going on about doing a reading or something, or doing a talking or inspirational thing. And all I could do was just sit there. I looked at this woman. Oh God, she's so pretty. I like her. She's like in her 80s. And I thought, oh, this is really cute. I like her. And I mean, that's cool. And I kept looking at this picture, going, oh, these words, that makes sense. Yeah. I was like, what is going on? Didn't have a clue. My guide is just laughing. And then all of a sudden she got really hot. And I was sweating. I was like, why is she getting hot in my head? Thinking, why is she getting hot? I'm getting hot. And I was like, weird. And as I stood up, I went, oh. She went, what? I said, I got your husband here. And she went, what? I said, yeah, it makes sense now. And I rattled all this stuff, and I said to her, footprints on the stand. And she went, yeah, that's the picture I got at home. I went, what? She went, yeah, that's what I got at home. She said, but I feel really hot. I said, yeah, so did I. She said, but I always felt really hot laying next to my husband when he was close to me. I said, well, there you go, love. He's close to you. So it's weird how it all just plays in your head. Just weird. So yeah, if I open and close myself down, I wouldn't know, I wouldn't experience that, would I? But on the same stage, I won't be like the Long Island medium either, walking up to people randomly in the street, because it's not my place. Back. Right, so I'm going to go step by step message how it works for me.
Okay.
Not for anyone else, but me. Okay, so as it works now, I've got my guide here. The first thing that he does, he brings the first person forwards for me. So the first person that I've got, and then the way that it works for me is I know where I'm going, because I have like a snake that tells me where I'm going. And when I look at that person, they all become lit up. Everyone else goes all dark. So you're all dark now. I can't see, my eyesight goes funny, and all I can focus on is one person. But as soon as I focus on that one person, then they all go blurry, so I can't even see if they're nodding or anything. That's why I have to say, can you understand that, because otherwise I don't know. So as I work with yourself, is that right? Yeah. The first person that comes through is this lovely man, and I just feel like he's just bringing all this heart towards me, and because that's how I feel, see? Heart. And I feel that he's very concerned about you at the moment, you understand? I feel like you in your own mind is deciding which way to go next. And I also feel that, I don't know if with him there will be a connection with the trains as well. Was granddad's passed?
Yes, but I don't think that is the grandfather.
Hold that. So, but you'd understand the trains?
Yeah.
And you'd understand that he would have either taken you there or you'd have seen them together?
I wouldn't have, but the person that he would be linked to.
It would make sense. Okay, so as long as you understand it, that's fine, because that's what's going on within my mind. But I also feel that he wants to hold your hand and tell you, actually it's okay to start walking forwards a little bit now, because I feel like you're just stuck where you are. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You're really doubting yourself lately, and I feel like you're having bouts of like anger, or bouts of being very frustrated with yourself.
Yes.
And he said, you want to pack that up and all, because that's not how you normally are. You're more heartful person. Does that make sense? You always think about others first.
Yes.
I get that. As I know that you two are connected anyway, aren't you? And is it grandson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. And as I get that. And as you two now come within my mind, I feel that I get this man that was talking to me is coming more forward now. He's coming forward more. He's a bit of a shy man in his way. He would always like hold himself back. You'd get that, wouldn't you?
No, I don't know.
No, but you understand. Has your husband passed?
Yes.
Right. But would you understand he's a bit shy coming
Yes.
forwards? Because
Sometimes.
as he's telling me all this stuff, he's sort of walking forwards and walking backwards, and my guy's sort of like pushing him gentle, like saying, come on, it's okay to talk. Does that make sense? I also feel that as he comes forward, he keeps on about concerns and concerns for yourself as well. You've been worried about yourself a lot lately, but you're not told people.
No.
You're keeping it inside.
Yeah.
And he says, and I'm not going to share it, but he says, all of this that you've been talking to me about and feeling within inside, he said, it's okay.
Okay, good.
I'll help you out. I feel like he wants to turn you upside down and shake you a little bit as well.
Okay, yeah.
Because the bits that you've got here, that you don't need to hold on to anymore, he says.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. I also feel that you two have been talking quite late within the evenings as well. Or you've been talking over a table, because as I see it, it's like showing me a table where you two have been chatting.
Not really.
Hold it. Oh, no, forget, because you just zipped up your mouth. There's things that you want to say, isn't there? And things that you're not sure how to say them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
This is how I got it. I would understand with him, you and him would have sat at the table talking.
Yes.
You would have sat there till
Got that,
late and you had your
yes.
cup of tea and you chat till the tea went cold. Because I see that the tea's gone cold. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So as I get that, he's now telling me, got it now, mate. He's telling me that you two, you need to open up. All of this that you hold on to, that's why you're so angry. And he said you just got to let it out. Does that make sense? You're not being silly or anything else. He said you just got to start going on with it yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The other thing that he keeps showing me is a punch bag. I don't believe that you're, I feel like you're just punching in the air. Does that make sense? Sort of like I just want to punch someone. That's how I feel. That's what he tells me. But he's just showing me the way that he's showing me the punch bag and he's holding on to it and you're punching it to get rid of your frustration. So his way of saying to me to tell you, I'm there with you too. Alright? The next thing that he shows me is that you're hugging a pillow. So when I see hugging a pillow, I always get that your sleep is all over the place. And I always see that he's telling me at 2 o'clock and 2:45 you're really awake.
Yes.
Because at 2:45 you're playing with things and you're also thinking about things out loud. And did you know you talk in your sleep?
I knew I laughed
No, you don't. Because he says to me, that in your sleep when you're talking, he's listening to what you say. Because when you're shouting it out, it's sort of like you're relieving yourself as well. Does that make sense? Which is important. The other thing that he keeps showing me is a butterfly as well.
Yeah.
Do you understand the butterfly? Great. And you'd understand with the butterfly, it's the way that within my mind, as he tells me it, is that you're very gentle to the touch with people, very soft person, but it's like, if you said to somebody else, oh, he's getting like really annoyed because I'm angry, like that's not the same person. It's sort of like you're twisting yourself at the moment. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So he just says, don't worry about it because you're going to untwist yourself, and once you get your feet firmly on the ground, you'll know where you need to move forwards. Does that make sense? Because you've already got the ideas, but you don't know how to put it into place.
Yeah.
I feel like there's money that you need to in order to help you do that as well, and that's why you two need to have a chat. But you know what? She will help you because the idea that I've got within you've got is a good idea.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But you're just so proud in here that you just don't want to say, do you? Exactly that. So just talk about it because I feel it's a very personal thing. So he's like telling me I can't talk about any of that more because he's like turning his back on me. So when they turn their back on me, I know that I can't then share that. But do you understand that? Not he's turning back on you, but he's telling me that I don't want to talk about it in public now. So you two need to have that conversation. So I feel like you're going to be sitting over a table, cup of tea, not psychic, that's Sally, not me. But I just feel like you're going to be sitting there, cup of tea, and you're going to, all of a sudden it's all just going to start coming. But that's his way of saying, right, about time you said it. Because you know, like when you were little, you used to joke a little bit, didn't you? Someone used to bang your back.
More like.
Because you used to talk and chat and not actually concentrating. So it's like, and when you start talking, he's going to pat your back and all these words are going to come out. You're like, where did that come from? But it's all going to get out in the open. Does that make sense? He loves you very dearly and loves you so much more. And that's really, really important. Does that make sense? You can live with that, okay? And I'm going to leave his love with you. Is that right? Thank you. Is that right? What more? Oh. So as he just gently steps back, what I have is I have like, as a person stays with me all the time during the whole time, but they sort of just go back in the back of my head a little bit, so I can't pitch them as much. Does that make sense? Unless they've got something else said and then drop me forward. Then my guy just literally just gently pushes in the next person for me. And it's nice, isn't it? So I don't do nothing, I just sit and just wait, and then all that happens is just weird sensations happen within my head and thoughts, and I just play around with my thoughts. Like, can I work with you? Is that right? Great stuff. So as I connect with you now, I feel like I've been a bit disorientated with myself. That's the word I got. It's sort of like, I'm just sort of like, you know, the feeling that I get is like, you know when you're sitting on the edge of the sand and you're right by the water, it's like, which bit feels better for me now?
Yeah.
I know. I got that too. As I'm going through, would you understand the name Wendy as well, please? They can be living, they don't have to die.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's the name that I got clearly within my mind. And you'd understand Wendy as well, because I feel like you two would have got on really, really well as well. And I feel like lately, even though you can be surrounded with loads and loads of people, I just feel like I feel quite lonely inside.
Yeah.
I know. And I get that. Oh, see, now I get confused. So I get that, but then I also feel that with yourself, it's like you sort of try and easily distract yourself quite easily. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because you don't really want to concentrate on everything that's going on. You're very like me. You sort of like rather keep busy and not worry about yourself so much. Does that make sense?
That's right.
I also feel that your feet get quite cold as well. Because I feel like I want to wrap them up and make them warmer for you. You've got cold feet.
No.
Hold up. Let me go. So with the cold feet, I've got that on the back. So who would you... See, I got the feeling that you would have popped your cold feet on somebody's back. That's how I get it.
Right.
Let me go with this. I'm not sure now, there's no confusion. See, now where you get the confusion is where you know that you've got the person there, and that's lovely, but then you just got to try and... I personally want to work out who they are. So then, because they're not telling me, I get frustrated with myself. Does that make sense? And I like that funny. Mum's passed, please. Yeah, because as she comes through, and Dad's passed too, because as they come through together. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I feel like with Mum, she's telling me that you used to sit with the sofa with her as well.
Yeah.
And I feel like you'd have always had your bare feet and your feet would have touched her leg. And they used to be freezing. Because you never used to wear your shoes, did you?
No.
Or your socks, and your feet used to get really, really cold, and that's what happened. So there we go. So that's why it's worked. Now I know who I've got, it all just flows for me, because now I'm nosy, I like to know. Does that make sense? I feel like with Mum though, it was hard to see her towards the end.
Yeah.
That's what she tells me. But she says, you know, I'm alright, and I'm okay. But she's telling me that you're worrying, and you're worrying around about your stomach for yourself.
Yeah.
Sort of like you take it right in your stomach, don't you?
Yes,
That's
I
how
do.
I got it. And I feel like this feeling that she keeps telling me is that you're feeling a bit, not shaky, but sort of like a little bit fuzzy. That's her, that's her giving you healing. You always think it's something bad. But she said, because of the fuzziness, that's her helping you. But she's not into all of this as much as what she should be, she tells me. And she's funny, I like her. Dad's very much a nice man, and he's just very much, has it his own way. That's Dad, in a kind way. He likes it his own way, rather than any other way. It has to be his way. Mum will sort of bend it a little bit, but she does like to stay focused on how she's doing things. I know. As I get this feeling, he keeps cutting me bread and butter, not bread and butter pudding, bread pudding. So with yourself, it's sort of like you're not eating all the good stuff that you're meant to be eating.
No.
Is that right? And I feel like towards his time, he would have ate stuff like stodgier stuff to get all these vitamins and stuff in. I know, that's what he tells me. So he's just laughing, saying that you should then have some of this for yourself. But I feel like sometimes it's hard for you to enjoy stodgy stuff.
Yeah.
So he says, I understand. Oh, that makes me laugh. That's funny. Now, the next thing that he shows me, and I don't know why, is a green dress. Was you going through like your clothing not so long ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. And did you find like stuff that you'd had like 23 years ago?
No.
What?
Not that long.
23? No, he's saying 23. There must have been stuff that you've seen that you've had from like a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
Right. But going to your clothing, when I'm sorting it out, there must be like a greenish dress or a greenish, it's like hanging, so it's either a dress or a cardigan. It's green. Does that mean cardigan?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you just said. I got that wrong. You got that wrong, mate. It's a cardigan. But it's like a weird colour green. It's not like, it's sort of like in between a dark green and a light green.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, I'm not sure what colour that is, but it's like in between green. That makes sense. I like that. So when you've got your wardrobe here, above where your clothing is, there must be like a thing to put stuff in.
Yes.
Right. So in there is something in there that you found recently that's like 23 years old.
Yeah.
And you must have some handwritten letters or documents going back then as well.
Yeah.
You got that? I like that. Thank you very much, mate. And would you understand Norman as well? For Dad. Dad's friend Norman. He said I've met up with Norman. Did Dad used to work with his hands, please?
Yes.
Yeah. And I feel like with his hands used to get really dirty. Now I know that because he's dirty hands and he's washing them. So he must have really worked hard in like factory situation or like that sort of environment.
Yeah.
So he's saying I met up with Norman.
Oh.
Because you always thought he didn't have any friends.
Oh.
And he said I met up with Norman and Norman is okay. Even though you don't know Norman, but he does. So he's happy with that. But I feel like Dad was like very much of a loner. That he would he'd do everything himself. But actually at work he had a few friends there. So he had his friends up there. But family life to him was really, really important. That he would make sure that everything was done right. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I feel like Mum used to slap his hand. I think he used to like pick at her food all the time. Cheekily.
Yeah.
Like, the wrong timing, she said. Never the right timing. She's like, get off. And it like wasn't cooked properly, she was getting it out to check it.
Yeah.
And she's like, not cooked properly. I'm like, oh, okay. That's funny, I like that. That's good. You got a brother in heaven too, please?
No.
Are you sure? Can we not kill him? I don't know. Brother, he keeps on...
You have, remember,
Oh,
adopted.
Oh yeah.
is that
The
your
other
brother?
side.
I don't see half or anything. I always just see him as... Does that make sense?
It does.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Would you understand with him, because he's laughing, he was quite a strapping lad in his way. There must be photos that he's shown you or photos of when he was younger. Because I feel like on his older time he'd be quite a distinguished way that he was. He had his own little framework.
Yeah.
Like smaller than what he was back then.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I got it. That makes sense too. Now, he's telling me about boxes or really heavy items that you need lifting away.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said, please don't do that by yourself. You need to, because you're very proud and you won't do it, but you need to ask people to help you.
Yeah.
I know you wait forever, but it's like it's important to get somebody else to help you, because you'll just get frustrated with it and upset too. Makes sense? Thank you. And that's really, really important. Now, when you sit there in the evenings and you sort of like, you can't focus on the telly and you can't focus on anything at all, can you? Sort of like the mind is overthinking itself.
Yes.
That's right. As it overthinks itself, it's mum and dad and your brother always close to you, and they're trying to play with your thoughts and try and put thoughts within your mind to try and clear them, because all of a sudden you think, oh yeah, that makes sense now. It's like they're helping you, because you ask for that help and that's what they're giving you. You keep saying, oh, will you help me, will you help me? And they think, oh, I'll help you, but you're just being a little bit impatient. You've just got to wait a little bit longer. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I love it. That's cool. Oh, bless you. You're funny. I'm going to say this as it is, but Mum tolerated Dad, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
And it would be horrible, but it was like a love-lost relationship, she said.
Yes.
She said, but we tolerated each other, but we wouldn't be without each other.
Yeah.
We could never like stay separately, we always stay together, put up with each other.
Yeah.
Through their own little ways. Does that make sense?
It does.
I know. That's what she's laughing about. She's saying, oh, my old brother. He was, wasn't he? He's lovely, but he's okay in his own way. But, you know, away from the home life, going back to work, as Norman just said, you know, he always made sure everyone was all right.
Yes.
He was a very caring man.
Yeah.
But I feel like you didn't always see that side of him at home all the time.
No, you didn't.
No, at work, he blinded, everyone loved him.
All right.
There you go, see? But you'll find that out when you talk to old friends later on in life. You'll see. Don't worry. Now, last thing, is there like a photo that you have with loads of people in it?
Yeah.
And you looked at it, but you put it back again. Go and have a look at it again.
Right.
And I want to focus to the front row, fourth to the left.
Yeah.
Go and have a look who that is.
Okay.
Because that's important. I don't know who it is, but
Okay.
go have a look. So I feel like there's family and friends within that,
Right.
isn't there?
Yeah.
Go look, fourth to the left.
Okay.
All right?
Yes.
Lovely. And I'm going to leave one in love with you. Is that all right? Thank you. So how that worked for me is that they just step back gently. And then we go, is that all right? Lovely. Oh. And glaring at me.
Sorry.
me?
Yeah.
Just there.
Oh,
Oh.
right in front of you. Oh, drop it on the floor, it's for the church.
It's
No, it's the
going
money.
back up now,
Oh,
look.
it's gone back up, I can't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tiny, tiny. Would be tarantula one, wouldn't it? Oh, sorry. Let's carry on then. So then you can work it the other way. So it's quite easy for me to place people, and then I can do it the other way, which apparently is the right way. Is describing who you have. So you can do it the other way as well. The thing that I keep getting, and I don't know why, is like I keep going on and off of buses all the time, frustrating me. But on and off of buses all the time, on and off of buses, on and off of buses, on and off of buses. And I would hurt my leg as well. I'd have hit my leg or hurt my leg. But I feel like it's the person here, not the person there. Who gone on buses all the time?
I know somebody was on the buses and fell off and hurt his leg.
Right, you get that? In heaven side. Right, makes sense. Cool. But would you also understand that with them they had a really good sense of humour?
Yeah.
Really, really funny. And would you get that then with them? It was quite funny because you know, like you got Veg Barney. I feel like it was quite similar to him.
Could be. Yeah.
Like the fag. That's it. Over there. Right. So. Oh, you're off again. Would you understand, please, that you're thinking about like going to different places lately and trying to work out how to get there?
We did that about 3 weeks ago and we've done it.
Right.
Exactly that, yeah.
Because that's what he's telling me, and he was like trying to plot all your routes.
Yes.
He was quite clever at that.
Yeah.
So he wasn't on your own.
Yeah.
Have you been getting like on and off headaches as well?
Shooting it.
Yeah, like in the front ear, just
Yeah.
here, quite hurt. That's because when you get them, that's even trying to help you.
Oh, great.
You know,
In
but you see, you bring that on yourself because you always say, well, you have to show me a sign that someone's there to help me.
Right.
So that's his sign. So when you get the headaches, you know he's there to help you plot your
Okay.
routes.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? That's funny. I like that. But there must be somewhere else that you've got to go really soon. 6 weeks.
Okay. Can't think. Moment.
Right, the way that I got it then was that I kept seeing the summer holiday with Cliff Richard. There must be somewhere that you want to go and get someone's luggage or all their clothing
Want to be used again.
in 6 weeks' time.
Pretty awesome.
Oh, there we go. So I feel like it's going to be within 6 weeks because I keep getting 6. So 6
Okay.
weeks, you're going to go and do that again.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I don't know where you live, but on the way from there to here, there's going to be like detours that you have to do.
Okay.
I don't feel like it was a direct route. Does that make sense?
Could be.
I think that's right. Have you got a dog where you're living?
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. Have you been thinking about your dog recently?
Yes, actually.
I know. So he's laughing because you know, like they put them in the metal cages, like
Yeah.
the dogs come in with the luggage.
Oh.
But that was one of the things you wanted to ask.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm not psychic, Sally. I don't know, but I just feel like it's all caged up and the dogs come in too
Oh.
because you're missing the dog more than anything.
Yeah, you're
More
right.
than any of those ones.
Yeah.
That's what I get. Because they're the words that I got. So that's important. So I feel like dog and luggage are coming too. So hold that thought. Okay?
Hmm.
Makes sense. You've got to just be who you are. That's what he tells me. Who you are. So that's important because you're,
Yes.
you're guiding, you're telling him, which is really good. Now this man, he would always wear like a jacket. It was like important to wear a jacket.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was badges or, I don't feel like medals, but I feel like badges that he had here.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember
He does.
actually.
Got a picture of him as well, haven't you? Got a picture of him with a hat on. He's so happy.
What did I put in?
Yeah. Have you got like a round biscuit? Metal
Yes.
tin?
I'm not metal, is it?
Or is it a round biscuit thing?
I've got brown biscuit.
They ain't got biscuits in it, has it?
I think I've seen one recently.
I feel like it's got
Have
like
you seen something?
photos or something in it.
Oh yeah, yeah, my dad's got that in his bedroom. Sorry,
There we go.
it's in his room, it's not mine.
So when
Yes.
you go for it, there's a picture of him in there.
All right, okay.
There we go. That's important too.
Right.
That's funny. I like that. Your dad's back. Is it like the lower part of his back and playing him up? Or something that's got something to do with the bottom bit of his back?
Sometimes it did, not.
Hasn't had a lumbar punch, has he?
No.
What? But I just feel like I want to go in there. So wait, I don't think that's for you. So as I got that, it sort of like something else went over that. So I know that bit's not for you. Forget that bit.
Yeah.
But anyway, go look at the photos because that's important. Okay. Good luck with the dog. That's funny. I like dogs. Dogs cute. I like Chippy dogs. That's good advice, Chippy. That's really good. I'll leave one of these up with you while you hold all the messages. Not good. Lumber punch. Who had the lumber punch? You understand that? I'm really drawn to you. Would you get that?
Ish.
Ish. I like ish. Right, so if I work with yourself, will you get then that, please, that... Would you understand if I said to you, if you put some roller skates on, you still won't get everything done as how you want it all done in your head? I feel like there's so much that you want to do, but even roller skates won't get you to where you want to get, because I feel like you're setting yourself time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Got it. I also feel that you would have spent hours or a long time sitting at the end of next to a bed in a hospital. Talking.
Oh, yes.
I know.
Yes.
Don't stop. Would you get that?
Yeah.
But I feel like the person, bless them, would be like nodding off to sleep and that, but you still be chatting away. Quite happy.
Story of my life.
Absolutely. So you'll be quite happy with that as well. I also feel that with yourself, it's really weird. The sensation I got is like, you know, like when you go to bed, it's like, oh, I'm going to just read this or I'm going to do this, but sometimes you just go out like a light and you're like, oh no, I want to do that and that.
Yeah.
When you wake up, you're like, oh, I missed out on that, didn't I? I should have done that. And you sort of like get a bit frustrated with it. Does it make sense? Okay. But it's like, it's time that you need to like chill out and relax. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
But even though when you have really big sleeps, it's worse than in short sleeps, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like a weird set feeling. That's why I told you it's weird, but that's how I feel. I keep getting the name Margaret for you as well.
Yeah.
Makes sense, because Margaret keeps chatting to me. I like Margaret, she's funny.
She is.
I know, she's telling me. But the feeling that I got, because the only way I could describe people is how they put it in my head. You know, like Ina Sharples out of Coronation Street, she's a bit like that, wasn't she? She had to get in everyone's business, didn't she?
Yeah,
Exactly
yeah.
that. And with her, she not only would get in everyone's business, but she'd also tell people bits that she wanted them to know.
Yeah.
Like, with yourself, you're not gossip. But anyone ever tells you, you always keep it in here. It's boring, she says. Because she likes to tell people. But you've held all these secrets, haven't you? For a long, long time.
Long time.
But her, she'll like, have to slip a little bit out, wouldn't she?
Yeah.
Exactly that. That's funny. I like her. She's a lot. Do what you like. Don't eat around your eye. So, trying to work that out. Dad. Is Dad this side alive? No, that side.
I don't know.
Oh, that's bad. See, I got confused there. So that's why I got this and that. That's why I got. So you don't know. That's right. I'm like in and out. I'm not going to tell her because I don't know. I'm like getting in and out. That's what I got. That's weird. Margaret said that. She's a gossip, isn't she? I know. She's telling me.
Yeah.
You've always wanted to know, though, haven't you?
I have.
So bless her. She drapes around heaven looking for you, but she hasn't got a clue really what he looks like. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because even you don't know, do you?
No,
Exactly
no.
that. Because that's what she tells me. I haven't got it.
Mhm.
So she's laughing at me, because now she's showing me Jeremy Kyle, and even he couldn't help me out. And that's how I got it. Because all it is little pictures, oh, she got smoking, little pictures in my head. That's what it is. That's what Margaret just said. That's smoking, yeah. Okay. Not saying bad thing, but I don't know. Oh, that's crazy. Oh, that's weird. Have you got like 3 saucepans that sit on top of each other?
Yeah.
That's bizarre. But the weird thing is, I feel like they interlink a little bit and all.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They got little knobs on them and all.
Yes.
Oh, there you go. Good girl, Margaret. I like that. Is it like a steamer thing then?
Yes.
That's it, she's telling me. So she liked all of that stuff. See, she feeling sorry for you, so she wants to make you like loads of steam stuff. Like eat roly-poly with bacon and all that sort of stuff. All nice. I like all that, go Margaret. She's good little cook, isn't she? So I like her. I know she still is. She's cooking in my head now. Thanks, I'm on a diet. Got that. So, are you alright? She's jumping. Getting close to it, I told you. So, oh dear, right, the thing that I get with yourself is that you've been dissecting yourself lately as well. Sort of like ripping yourself apart. Does that make sense? You've got to pack that up. Because you know what, within yourself, it's like, oh, she tells me you're a really honest person. You never tell lies.
No.
So boring. That's what she said, not me. She's like this, isn't she? That's her.
She is.
She goes, oh, tell me like, no, oh, you're so boring. That's how she'll talk. Did she have like a deeper voice sometimes as well?
Yeah.
Because every time that, you know, that like, I want to go like this with her voice. Like when she got the your dog does that, doesn't it? Talks to itself, the dog. That's what I thought. Anyway, so this is what happens when I just let myself go. Just put it in my head. Mum, here, please.
Yeah.
living.
Yeah.
I can't kill her off, not allowed. She's funny though, isn't she? She's a real stubborn woman, isn't she?
Yes.
God, I won't get on one side of her, would I? There's something about her door, she always wants it shut properly, doesn't she?
Yeah.
And you keep leaving it open. Pack it up. You know that annoys her, doesn't it? And she wants it like shut. That annoys her, like stays over, oh, shut that door. That makes me laugh. Now, Margaret's saying about, would you understand they didn't quite know what was wrong with her?
Yes.
And like she had all these stupid tests, she said.
Yeah.
And they were going to do this lumbar puncture thing, and oh, she wasn't happy.
No.
She said, I just felt, what's the word? Sort of used and abused, she said. She said, and they still got it wrong. Didn't they? I know, she said she laughed. It don't affect her now, she's fine. She's absolutely fine. And she's got a brown dog with her too.
All right, yeah.
Makes sense? Because this little yappy dog goes on and on and on. I feel like it feels like it's a bigger dog than what it is.
Yeah.
I feel like quite a butch dog, but it's not.
No.
But he just barks the bark. Yeah, so, like that. That's funny. But she's alright with the dog. The dog, oh, I won't go too near it though, because I feel like it want to bite me.
He would.
I know,
Yeah.
just did. But he did, he just got my head. Good, like, careful. But around her, it was alright.
Yeah.
And she'd always have it near her lap, so you couldn't
Yeah.
go near her, could you?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly that. Was she a smoker too?
Not that I knew of her, no.
Why would she have an ashtray near her then?
Her husband was a smoker.
Like, but not like a normal ashtray. I've got it like on a long stem thing,
Yeah.
and you put it in and boom, boom.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Like sucked up. That makes sense.
Yeah.
He's there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because now he's smoking a fag. Got him. And that dog didn't like him either. Just liked her, not him. That's what I got. He liked to have a little bit of a drink though, didn't he?
He did.
He did. There's only one now. We can taste the whiskey in my mouth now.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what she all know.
No.
Not her thing. That's
No.
what she told me. Do you know anything about her hair though? Her hair always had to be quite nice.
Yes.
She liked her hair in a particular way though.
Yeah.
And the last hairdresser never got it quite right, did they?
No.
And you brushed her hair too.
Yeah.
And you tried your hardest to get it right. It still weren't right, was it?
No.
Just this hairdresser just knew, she said. Just knew my hair. But I know that you brushed her hair towards the end of her time because she said it was all right. I could live with that. That's how I got it. And that's that. And your mum makes me laugh, aren't you? She's quite stern, but she's funny in her way. Who had the funny hat? That wasn't Mum, was it? Like the round circular hat, but it was all like sort of fluffy a little bit.
I was looking at a peculiar hat yesterday on my other grandmother in a
Ah.
picture.
Oh what?
A wedding picture.
Right, okay.
She's wearing that old Mother Riley hat.
So he's just making reference to the hat, so there you
Yeah,
go.
it was hers.
Oh wow. Oh that's cool, isn't it?
Yeah, because I only saw it yesterday.
Oh wow, there you go. So that's his way of just giving you that little bit of extra just to tell you, yep, you're right. Absolutely. Three things that you're trying to pop right. Is that right? Or 3 things you want help with to pop right, he says.
Yeah.
And I'm helping you with that. Not to everyone it is, no, but this is I'm helping you with that.
Yeah, they helped me today. I was shocked.
Yeah. Working on it. Okay, so just bear that in mind, he says, alright? That's all he wants to tell you, but he's alright, okay? And I'll leave all these lovely for you, is that
Thank
alright?
you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
there we
you.
go.
Right, which one of you ladies? Come on.
Yeah.
I'm serious. One of you or both of you? He deserves it.
Yeah.
Why don't go on?
Go on, you.
Can you do better standing up? No.
Oh, I know, it's not.
How are you doing?
I can only tell you what I was picking up when I was here, but whether that makes sense.
That would be
or not.
good.
I'll go then.
Marks out of 10.
She's put a coat on now, she's off. She's gonna let go.
Yeah, let me try and remember. Oh yeah. Right, okay, here we go. I don't know why, but I was seeing you at a station, like at a train station. I don't know, there's somewhere you're going or there's some meeting that you're going to be having
Okay.
fairly soon, in the next sort of month or two.
Okay.
But I see you sort of carrying like a travelling case at a station.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of a really busy one, so I don't know if it was a London one or somewhere, but it felt like you were possibly going up the middle of the country.
Okay.
I don't know what that doesn't mean anything to me. I also was aware of a younger man that was around you,
Mm-hmm.
that you were aware of, that you'd helped at some point in his life. He would have been in his sort of 20s, somewhere, I feel like the mid-20s, late 20s, with dark hair. He's not somebody who's connected to your family.
Okay.
He's somebody that you would have been in touch with at some point, and you've helped him. And he makes me feel like he's around you, particularly when you're out and about in the darker times, you know?
Yeah.
When you're travelling, you're out and about and you're doing things. He makes me feel like that. I don't know why.
Okay.
It's like he's looking over,
Yeah.
looking out for you.
Yeah.
I was also picking up on, yeah, that was it. There's two other things. I'll speak to you and then Susie can tell me some stuff.
She's asleep.
Mine's probably. Yeah, no, I was, this guy was coming through, this gentleman was coming through, but he seemed a really stern man. I don't know who he was, but he seemed quite upright, sort of stern man, that's somebody that's connected to you. But he was making me feel like, at some point, you felt sad about some perhaps, not relationships, but friendships that you'd had. It turned a little bit sour, which you hadn't really, you hadn't thought that was going to happen.
Okay.
People that you thought were kind of your friends, but they weren't.
Okay.
It was quite a bit of a sad moment for you. It was kind of like they, what should I say? The word I can say. Not stabbed in the back, but that kind of feeling.
Okay.
So I don't know if you can take that. Just this chap that was around. He's quite a tall man, and I felt like I had a green jacket on like this, like one of yours.
Okay.
Quite upright. It was something. He did something to do with numbers, or like in an office. I felt like an architect or something to do with math numbers.
Okay.
And that's what I was getting. So.
That's right. Thanks.
More along the lines with
Oh, sorry.
yeah.
Sorry to do it. Socks. Why was I seeing you wearing shorts? A lot.
Shorts. Oh, when I was ill, I wore a lot of shorts.
So like shorts and socks.
Yeah. I was wearing shorts and socks. Yeah, I like shorts a lot.
Does that help? No.
Not 90s.
No, not
I saw the travelling thing.
You saw that as well.
Yeah, but what I got with it was more. It was like doing the coast. It's like main coastal towns, or a sort of like Eastbourne, something like that. But then I also saw you going further afield. It's like you're doing a tour.
Mm.
Like there's a tour in planning, some sort of tour to do with what you do. But it was more like, but at the same time they're saying you need to slow down.
Okay.
Because you're biting off more than you can chew. Because you're going to get so much stuff and you've got so many ideas, but you can't, it's like juggling plates, you can't do it all. But you've got to evaluate which is the priority and which is not. But they're focusing on this tour thingy, but I don't know why I got the coast. I did get a name earlier, but I can't for the life of me come back. And it was more about some days you're really, really highly strung, and then other days you're flat, and it's trying to get the even balance, because that's like the juggling, because it's the therapy stuff you do, which is really important to you. But then all this other stuff's coming in, and it's like there's only one of you to go around.
Yeah, true.
So it's taking the time to sit back, look, and think, actually, what do you want to do? What's important to you? And it doesn't necessarily mean that the things that are obvious that people think, oh, you must do that. But it's not important to you to do it.
Okay.
Also, there was stuff. I got stuff about if you've got a son. That there's been some good times and some bad times for him. And more recently struggled with a few things, but you've always been there to sort of, come on, but softly, but sometimes you have to be like, no, you have to do the opposite. But he's getting there. Sometimes I feel like, how do I put it? That not his, he needs to grow up, but there's things that he still needs to learn.
Yeah, of course.
A part of growing up,
Mhm.
and he will get there. But there's areas that he doesn't lack. He lacks the understanding. Yeah, you know, like I think it's emotional as well as
Okay.
you know, like the that development's going to come. It's
Mhm.
not catching up with the rest at the moment. It's going to come later on.
Okay.
But the working side, is he working? But I think what he's doing there is learning to work.
Mhm.
Well, I was just thinking, whatever he's doing at the moment is challenging things that he wouldn't normally do. Maybe outside of his comfort zone.
Yeah, that'd be the other one. Yeah, that makes sense.
So somebody's being pushed outside their comfort zone because they sort of protect themselves from stepping out of that.
Mhm.
Now they're doing it, and it will come slowly.
Okay. Cool.
But they'll get more confident.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah. But with yours, it's the work is just what's your work-life balance,
Yeah, of course.
because you don't want to end up getting in.
Yeah, true.
You know, I don't mean like the old,
No.
I mean like burning yourself
Yeah,
out.
of course. Yeah.
So just take it
Okay,
easy.
thank you.
I've got the travelling bag too.
Okay.
There's lots
We're
of
off.
them. And what they put in my mind is, you know, when you get John Bishop, and he
Mhm.
goes on tour, that's what you're going to do. You're going to go on tour,
Live
so
off your bag.
it will balance out your work,
Yeah.
but you will be I don't know if you've got an agent, but you will be booked in
No.
different places. So in the summer, for example, I'm not saying it's going to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
summer, but you will actually be touring around the country
Oh,
yourself. But it's at your leisure,
Yeah, of course.
not, you know, it's something that you will want to
Oh,
do,
nice,
and it's
yeah.
something that will balance you out and you'll feel comfortable with. And before I finish, your face changed again. You've had a moustache here. Did you see that? There was a moustache on it. And you've had, now, I'm not racist or anything, because I can't be, it's impossible in my family, but there was a man in your face that was about, I'd say, 55-ish,
Okay.
and he looked like he was Pakistani.
Oh, right.
This is why I'm being careful. And then there's another guy who was a bit younger than him. They looked Greek or Egyptian,
Mm-hmm.
more Greek than Egyptian. And the weirdest thing is, and I've got to say this because I think I've seen your avatar,
Oh, okay.
because that wasn't human.
Oh,
What's coming to your face? Pretty nice face, but it's a bit like the hair comes round
Oh.
and fills your face, but it fills you all in with the little tiny ears. And that came up 3 times.
Wow, thank you.
Anyway, it's your turn now. She'd run home. Have you got
I
something?
kept seeing something down here on his face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to me it's like a claw mark, but it could be hair that was
Yeah, it's
down his
hair.
neck.
He's got
Do you see
hair.
it?
Yeah.
On this side.
Wow.
And your
I
face
can
gets
see- I can
completely
see
changed.
that.
It gets smaller
Does it?
and it gets longer.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know if it's even going to show on that,
Dunno.
because it doesn't always.
No.
Interesting.
Anybody else got anything?
What do you think?
Have you got something?
You had a
Oh,
lot of
bless
light
you.
workers around you,
Oh,
which
yeah.
confused me, because I don't know if you know half of them are there. Just that every once in a while you get a little zap from them and they'll disappear for a while and then
Okay.
they'll just come back, and it was confusing me because they kept blurring your face out.
Yeah, I've got a lot. Yeah, I've got lots of helpers. Yeah.
I don't know why
That's
they're blurring
fantastic.
faces and things, but
Yeah, yeah.
that might be when she was seeing the changes.
Yeah, maybe. Makes
I
sense.
don't know.
Thanks.
Anybody else got anything?
Thank
This
you.
doesn't normally happen.
Thank you.
Neil. Apart from Neil Hole in Their Shoe, I used to like that song. I really like that one.
So, would you like to close?
Thank you very much for coming to Walton Spiritualist Church. I hope you enjoyed it, and it's a lovely church to come and visit as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you
welcome.
very much.